What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Speak Up series.
Speak
Today,
up, speak up.
we have a very, very special guest. One of my co-stars, a
What up?
brother. You might be able to see him on the show. This Is Us, and he's also the first. But we're gonna talk about this later. But the first Black Disney prince. Give
Already
it
crying, man.
Fitch, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, man.
Hey, I'm
You
glad
be making me like hella emotional on This Is Us. Both of y'all. I just want to say screw you, but thank you.
You had to
I'm
come.
glad, but I'm sorry.
So, Niles, we really just, we've been starting off every episode by, obviously there's a lot going on in the world right now, and it can affect people's mental health, a bad way sometimes. So, we just want to check in on our guests. How you feeling? Where your headspace at, bro?
I say tired, happy but tired. I'm glad that more things are coming to light and change is starting to take place. However, I'm a Black male, and I'm from the South, so what I'm seeing on social media and stuff like that, I've been living it. I've seen my father live it, his father, and so forth. So it's hard always turning on my phone and seeing somebody that looks like me getting hurt, or somebody that doesn't look like me trying to stand up for my rights and them getting hurt too. So it's tiring, but I'm glad that it's happening, because you're not supposed to feel comfortable during like a revolution, as some would say, So I'm glad that it's happening, but I'm just trying to find a middle ground when it comes to ingratiating myself and keeping up with all the news that's coming out, but still have that time to myself to where I can wind down, so for me that's like working out or like running or watching a movie, so I can just get my mind away from that for a few hours, because I think we may not even know it, but it's affecting our mental health negatively, whether we like it or not, so it's trying to find that middle ground to where I'm still a sane and not filled with anger Black man.
Yeah, we were talking a lot, about how when a lot of the time when we see these things happen, and it's like on such a consistent basis that we get desensitized so easily. And my personal experience, when the George Floyd video, the video of his murder came out, I scrolled past it because I would say that I was desensitized, and we see these things happen all the time, and a lot of the time we feel helpless. And it wasn't until everybody else, it kind of became, it was very shocking. It was like, wait, everyone else cares now, and it's like, oh, now people are starting to speak up. So I didn't necessarily feel that sense of helplessness anymore, especially when we started this, because it was like, okay, I'm finding a new sense of purpose and the sense of, I don't know, I guess it just kind of feels like it is more acceptable to fight for our rights now, which is a horrible thing to say.
Yeah,
But it's the truth. How did you feel, man?
I think that's mainly because of camera phones. I mean, all these messages are being recorded to where people can continuously watch it over and over again. And I say that's why I say find the middle ground, because it needs to be all over social media. We need to turn on our phone and not be able to escape it, because that's how the issue is going to get addressed. My mom sent me the video because it's quarantine. I'm waking up late. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, you got to.
And it took me till about 4:00 to have to get, I wouldn't even say balls, but just to be able to be like, all right, like I can watch this. You know what I'm saying? It took my mom maybe 2 days to be able to watch the entire video all the way through. So
Do you think because social media, it ranges across all ages. Do you think that we need to not shelter our younger kids from it, but maybe keep them from seeing things as graphic as that? Or do you think it's something important to, at least for young Black boys, to see that and let them understand that, this is how the country sees you, and then this is the direction in which we need to Go.
Well, I know Ethan may be able to speak to this. I don't know if y'all have like younger siblings or not, but like I got a younger 13-year-old sister. So I see we went out to get some food 2 days ago, and when we were driving, protests were happening, and a cop car like stopped in front of the car in front of me. That car went around, so I was trying to do the exact same, and the cop car pulled up, so I wasn't able to get around. No, it was no big problem. It was just, protesters are coming. You got to take another street. But my sister was terrified for the rest of the 30-minute drive. And I can tell that she's on the edge. So it's like we can say we should shelter them because I don't think any 13-year-old should be seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
But they got to know the harsh reality of what the real world is. Because I would rather her know and be prepared, and me and my family be able to give her the tools that's needed and navigate in this world, than her to just be out there and be like, oh my God, racism is like I don't know how to act.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I feel like
think it's a good thing, Ethan, what do you think? Because you have younger siblings and stuff like that.
well, yeah. So they actually, they see how I am. They know that there's like a specific routine whenever I am driving and I see a police officer.
Yeah.
It's almost automatic for me. If my windows are down, I immediately start rolling them up. My music's just slightly loud.
Goes down.
I got it. Yeah. And they see me tense up, if I am not able to see it and they're in the car with me, they say it's like start that process. So they're very aware, and I think social media has done a different thing. What it's done for them is it's just really educated them on how many racist people there are in this world. How many people think that it's a joke, that it's something that you can use and to rack up views and likes and all of that stuff, and those people aren't realize that what their comments and their videos are actually they're affecting and hurting the people that are watching it, those that are
TikTok trend. We are on a TikTok trend.
Yeah, I mean, it's really ridiculous, and it's like, what is some for them? Actually, they get they get really angry. They get really, really mad. I've heard some chats between them at 2 a.m. about like them. They're just showing each other TikToks, just like, look at this fool. Like, I don't understand this. Why is it happening? And although like it hurts to hear and it hurts to see that they've got to like watch what people think of them, and how they assume it's a joke and it's something that can be just showed to the world with no problem. But I think it's important as well, so that they don't, like you said, so that they're not out there like naive to it when something, if someone were to approach them and say a racial slur or profile them, it's difficult. It's difficult having the youth see all of this, but it is, at the end of the day, it's important because that they'll be able to know from this early point that things need to change.
Yeah, I remember when after I guess I kind of was processing my emotions in front of the audience and the platform that I have, but I remember I went live to kind of, I guess, just get everything out of my system. And one of the things that I was talking about, because I have 4 younger siblings.
I saw that live, by the way.
You did? Thank you, brother. Thank you for supporting. But yeah, four younger siblings. And right after everything happened, I was kind of processing it and trying to take the time to really, I guess, get my emotions out in a healthy way. And I talked about in the live how when I saw this video, I immediately went out to my siblings and just informed them of it, because my siblings, one of them's about to be a sophomore, one of them's about to be a freshman, and one of them's about to be in 8th grade. So, they're old enough to understand these things and get these things, but, it's also still a very young and vulnerable age that you're at, and having to see these things is horrible, but it's like we're saying, we have to educate our siblings because, we don't want them to face. So I was just like, we're in a new environment now. You have to make sure that you are always aware at all times that, you know, something that you bring up all the time, Ethan, if you are at a party with, you know, and you're the only black person there, and, you know, somebody's doing something wrong,
Got it.
automatically you have a target on your back. And so I remember I was telling them this, and like it kind of made me emotional. So I went over to them and gave them all hugs, and I have a 4-year-old little brother as well. And I went over to give him a hug, and like he was, just laughing the whole time. I was like, no, I don't want to give you a hug. I don't want to, as 4-year-olds do. But it's like he doesn't understand the weight of everything that's going on, and how the world already sees him as a 4-year-old kid, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's absolutely unacceptable that we have to tell our younger siblings this, and then when we get older, tell our kids this. I mean, we shouldn't have to feel like we have to brief our younger our the younger generation on how to survive because they're black. And it's truly a terrible thing. But
Niles,
So
you are Disney's first black prince.
yes, sir.
Hey, Paul
Crazy.
power to the people.
Yes, sir.
Just speak on what that title means to you, how big of a step it is in properly being represented in this industry, not just being, seen as like gangsters and people from
Thugs.
exactly, but princes, scholars, and etc. Just speak on that.
all right. Well, I'd say I didn't even understand the impact when I first booked it. To me, it was like I get to play a Disney prince and I'm black. Like, that's amazing. I'm glad I even got that opportunity.
Mhm.
And the funny thing, I didn't realize till after filming that it had never been done. And I didn't realize how big it was till my sister woke me up and was like, CNN is posting about it. And I'm like, CNN? Like, what? And so that's when I really had to sit back and be like, wow, this is amazing. And then Anika Rose, I said it right. Yeah, I knew I said her name right. She was on The Real, and they were talking to her, and they're like, any advice that you give him? And she was like, just know that there are going to be a bunch of little black kids running up to you that look exactly like you, that haven't been able to see that representation on TV.
I just
waiting
for you, bro. That's crazy.
Just loving you. You know what I'm saying? And to know that there's going to be somebody that looks like me that I wasn't, like, I didn't get to see this when I was their age. And I think, what do we have? Just Jordan. That was like the closest thing to like,
yeah,
and just seeing a black boy on TV.
His cousin Skeeter.
Yeah, I mean, you could watch Fresh Prince and stuff like that, but at a young age, I'm not really understanding how big that is. You know what I'm saying? Or understanding those stories. So to know that, this is going to be something that, you can watch this from 5 to 18 and enjoy it. That it means the world to me. And we need more representation like this on TV. I mean, in Africa, we were royalty, so I've been a prince.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's how I view. We all are princes, so I'm just so happy. Like, honestly, at a loss for words, but I just know that with this platform, I'm gonna do right by it. And y'all know me, so
we do it for the next.
Yeah,
we do it for the next.
And that's what I've started to do a lot more, is like, because people really didn't do it to me when I was coming up in the business, but talking to young black actors coming up, like Keith Williams from Bad Boys.
Man.
Just trying to talk to, boys coming up, because I not even some mentorship, but just to like prepare them for what's coming, and give them little seeds that I wasn't able to, that I didn't have, so, I'm gonna just use this platform that I'm given, with my, I'm just really happy. I'm just really
You said that you went to therapy, and of course there is a huge stigma in the black community about going to therapy, and I definitely want to go to therapy one day. I'm not sure when. got to figure out when's the right time for me. But my parents are therapists, so I know I already know how
Oh,
important it is.
you're gonna have to go.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so what was I don't know. I guess I would just want to ask, like, were you scared before you went to therapy? Did you feel like, it was invalidating your manhood, I guess? What was your feelings before you went?
Okay, so
And how'd you cope with it?
when my father died, I was it was before I was even a teenager. I was 12.
Mm.
And it wasn't even about manhood. It's just I don't want to tell people my story where they don't deserve my story. Like that was like, they don't deserve to hear about the trials and tribulations I went through, and how is that going to help me, you know? So I went to this place called Case Club in Atlanta, and it was like a group therapy session. And I went to one in New York too, which was, really good. And I really didn't talk. I let other people talk. And I think that really put a lot of things into perspective for me. If you're not as cool, if you don't want to go, if you're not comfortable going to one-on-one therapy, group therapy is really cool, because you're hearing other people that went through the exact same experiences as you, sometimes worse. Sometimes you're hearing people didn't even have. I got to have my father for 12 years. Some people didn't even get that. When he was in the hospital, I had 6 months, no, 5-6 months before he passed away to be with him. Not many people got that. Some people woke up, went to school, came back home, your father died. So when you're hearing that, and, you start opening up when you're going on field trips with people, and you're like, the field trip isn't even revolving around what happened, but that everybody around you has had that happen, but everybody's able to put that smile on their face and keep fighting. And I went to a summer camp, and where they made us talk about all our emotions. And luckily we were at an age to where manhood didn't even come into play, because half of us hadn't even gone through puberty like that,
Right.
So it was more just trying to become comfortable. But I have to say, when I talk to people that have dealt with, losing somebody close to them, and they did not go to therapy, there is a big, big difference between where they're at, their journey, and where I'm at, and where other people that I've seen gone to therapy, where they're at. So I think therapy is beneficial. It's not for everybody. Personally, it wouldn't have been effective for me if it was one-on-one, because it would have been like that puffy meme, where he's just staring at the guy.
Right.
It would have been that, So, you got to find what works for you. And, sometimes it's not even therapy, but just having that open discord with your family, to where, you can express 100% how you feel. So I say therapy is one of the best things that's ever happened for me. I don't think I would have been able to get past my father's, not even past, but I don't think I would have been able to come out the other side with that fight that I have now, if I didn't go to therapy. So I'm always thankful for Case Club, and I did a gala for him last year to raise money, and I'm always talk about, when you're dealing with, whether it's death or any type of trauma, it's sometimes good to talk it out, or hear other people that have gone through what you're going through talk about their journey, where they're at, their hurt, and so forth. And this is us started addressing that. And, I love that they address that. I doubt they probably didn't even know the effects therapy had on me at a young age. They didn't know how much that meant to me. So being able to portray that on television, to where Randall as a teenager is very skeptical of going, and he's having Beth push it on him like, you should, to where he finally accepts going when he's in his 40s, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful, because these things need to get normalized. And I feel like Black men are always made to be, whether we, even I think our race is, a part of this problem, but like we always, because we're warriors, you know,
Mhm.
but warriors have emotions too.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't deal with that trauma, you're gonna pass it on to, you know, your son's gonna have that trauma and so
Yeah.
forth. I really do believe in that. So, you know,
On
I'm
that
very glad that's being normalized.
on that topic of manhood,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I still thank God have my father. So I'm not sure how have you sort of found and are continuing to find, because obviously we're still young, but you know, that's important, especially as like a Black man, because there's so much responsibility that entails, you know, a responsibility of safety, responsibility of community, and you know, over time I feel like that idea has been lost. But you know, you got a good head on your shoulders. Like, how do you think you've sort of come up to find that?
My mom
Mm.
had to take both roles.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, so I give, you know, but there's still stuff that, you know, she can't teach that I
Right.
just had to learn on my own,
Mm-hmm.
plain and simple. Just stuff
Yeah.
I and just had to learn on my own. And you know, I've had mentors. You know, I talked to Mr. Sterling and Mr. Milo, or as they want me to call him now, Milo and Sterling, because I'm above 18, so I don't have to say Mr. But you know, I found mentors where I've worked, and you know that's helped. But you know, there ain't no one right way to be a man. So
Yeah.
you know, it's not like it can be taught. Uh,
Right. Right.
you know,
It's a
so
journey.
it's been, yeah, trials and tribulations. But you know, thankfully, you know, because you know, while I don't have my dad beside me physically, I feel like I got him spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, it hasn't been overly difficult. But you know, I think that's just because I'm protected by him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you, Niles, for sharing.
Yeah, seriously, man.
Yeah.
This has been a beautiful conversation, man. And you know, this is exactly what we're talking about. We're just four young Black men just talking about how we're feeling and you know
Trying to
everything
do
that's
right
going.
by the world.
Exactly, and it's good that you know we have these outlets and we have certain things like this to make sure that you know we're checking in on each other, and you know because like it's a concept that we were talking about earlier, but we are our brothers keepers, and we have to make sure that you know especially in the midst of everything that's going on right now in the world, and you know it could be a lot for Black people. We definitely need to make sure that we're checking up on each other. We need to make sure that we're taking these breaks, taking these breaths, and then you know next day the fight continues, and you know just keep pushing the movement forward. So
And we
thank
all
you, man.
and we
Seriously.
all we got, man. Is you know not only you know in the wide wide lens, but in this industry, you know there ain't many of us, you know.
Right.
So you know, I tell this to every you know a lot of Black actors that I meet, like it's a small world, you know, and it's an even smaller industry.
Yep.
So we need to you know work together because
Yeah.
it needs to be more unity.
More
Most def.
unity.
Yeah, more unity.
Most
Unity
def.
and community. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Exactly.
man. Well, thank you, bro.
Thank you,
Hey,
Niles. Give it up
Coming
for
on.
Niles Fitch, everybody.
Disney's first Black Prince.
Yes, sir. We're gonna keep reiterating that. All right, y'all.
yo,
Peace.